All right, it is of 10 o'clock Swiss time, so we are ready to start. Once more, a big welcome to everyone who is now here to join us today for this first global Sonic webinar in 2024. There were not so many news to tell. That's why we did not start with a webinar before. But now we are really, really happy to share all the great news with you. Before going to the point, we would like to share some administrative point with you without the webinar. So for those maybe who cannot participate today, or for those who are coming late, so the webinar will be recorded. So afterwards you will also receive the link, and it's always possible to review it. The microphones are muted, and you will also see that the attendance participants actually have been unidentified, and this we actually do now, excuse me, for privacy reasons. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat, and then in the end of the webinar, we will answer them all. And if we may not be possible, then we will look for an answer later on. For those of you who are uncomfortable listening in English or reading in English the PowerPoint presentation, there is in PowerPoint a feature which is called Translate Slides. With this Translate Slides, you would have the possibility to actually see the text in probably your own language. This feature is available below on the bottom of your screen, where you have the three dots. And if you click on the three dots, then you will see Translate Slides. And then on the right side of Translate Slides, you will see that a number of different languages pop up, hopefully also the language which you are comfortable in. So this is a possibility which you can use, which may make it a bit easier for you to follow this webinar today. We are two trainers today. It's my dear colleague, Marielle. Marielle will join me a bit later today and also present part of the presentation. And then it's myself, Christina Kreuchi, who's also been a trainer for many years. So we are really, really happy that we can also go along with you on the next journey with Sonic to be your Sonic product trainers. All right. The agenda of today. First, I will introduce the Sonic family and the hardware a little bit. And then we will look also at the new charger and the totally new speaker system. Then, of course, we also have some connectivity updates for Sonic. And then I will also quickly talk about what's new about fitting Sonic hearing instruments. So you will see in this program today, we will cover most of the basic information which you need to know about the new instruments. And then in the following month, we will also have some individual webinars where we go a bit detailed into the different areas. But yeah, let's start. So as you have already heard, the new name of the instruments are actually Sonic A1. It's a great, great family. Again, it has an exclusive design, and you will see it has innovative hearing technology and more fantastic hearing solutions. For Sonic, the design was always very, very important. So a dedication to a great design means that the new Sonic A1 have an elegant and ergonomic design. They have a new speaker system, and from the design point of view, they are actually smaller and they are also a bit more discreet. So if you compare the Sonic A1 with a previous BT or miniRITE instrument, then you will see that they actually look more elegant and much nicer. Then we have this great new smart speaker system where I will talk about a bit later in a bit more detailed. There will be a new connector to the speaker, so which means the existing speakers which we have had until now cannot be used for Sonic A1. You also see that the instrument now here has only a single push button, which also makes the use for the hearing aid user much easier. Then he does not have to fiddle around and look for two buttons. Still has a LED light to confirm on and off and other behavior of the hearing instrument. It has a fast charging battery, so even the battery life could be improved with Sonic A1. And it has a new tap control to accept or reject phone calls, where I will also talk about it a bit later. So if we look at the hearing instrument, what is actually inside, here I have a few examples to point out the most important things on the Sonic A1 miniRITE. So we do have the LED, which clearly indicates when the instruments are on or when the instruments are off. Then we do have now this larger push button. So the push button allows you to switch the instrument on and off, or also to change program or adjust the volume. But in addition, it's also possible with the push button to switch on and off Bluetooth connectivity, which is also actually very nice. If you want to do this, then you just must press the push button a little bit longer for about 7 seconds, and then the Bluetooth can be deactivated or activated. This may actually also be a problem if the hearing aid user is pressing the button for too long, and then the instrument may appear to be in a silent mode. But this can actually be if the user has pressed the push button for about 7 seconds, then indeed the instrument will go to the Bluetooth function. This was actually also the same with the previous miniRITE if you use the push button. So always good to know the client, the instrument has not broken down. Most probably it is in a Bluetooth mode. Then for some country, very important that it has a telecoil, although you will see the description of the Sonic A1 will only be MNR. So there is no T for telecoil, but it does indicate that the telecoil is actually included. So this is one of the standard features which we have in the Sonic A1 miniRITE. Then what is also a completely new design is now the charging contact. So you will see very clearly on the inside of the hearing instruments that the charging contacts have been made much robust, and they are also charging much faster. Although it has been taken careful consideration that these charging contacts will avoid direct contact to the skin, which then also reduces dramatically the corrosion issues. So we are really, really looking forward to this new contact charging system. Then there is actually a new lithium-ion battery. It's a different battery than we have used in the previous instruments. With this new lithium-ion rechargeable battery, we have increased the capacity about 35%. Now, with this increased capacity, it means that the hearing aid user can wear the instruments 20 hours easily. And another advantage of this new battery is also that the capacity of the battery is maintained even more than 5 years. So you don't need to worry that the lithium-ion battery may break down fast. So it is a very, very durable battery system which we use. You will see from the miniRITE shell that the battery is actually sealed. So it's sealed into the miniRITE instrument, and the hearing care professional cannot open the battery door. So for a change of the battery, you would need to send it to the IT lab, to one of the demand IT labs, or maybe to a local lab in your country if the technician has been trained accordingly to be able and change the battery. But as we say, not worry, it's no need to change the battery soon. This is a long, long-lasting, durable system which we are using now. Then here we see actually the heart of the Sonic A1 sound processing. In this small piece, the whole technology of Sonic A1 is included. And the new technology is called sound processing and noise management, and it also includes a motion sensor. The motion sensor is available on the higher levels of Sonic A1 instrument, and we are also talking about this a bit more detailed later. You will also see that the miniFIT Detect speaker has a totally different 8-pin connector. And with this 8-pin connector, we have great possibility. Because in the new smart reader with this 8-pin connector, there is a memory. This memory actually identifies the serial number, the fitting level, the length of the wire, and the side, if it's the left or the right side. And it also saves information of the output of this speaker in 24 bands. So it does have all this important sensitivity information and technical data. Why do we do this? Because this is important that this data is stored in case the hearing aid user needs to change the speaker. And it is possible that maybe a new speaker would have a slightly different output. And with this automatic calibration, we can make sure that the output on both sides is always identical as any of the previous speakers the hearing aid user has used. We can use the same domes as you are familiar with. So as the speaker, they also have the same shape. So the same acoustic models can be attached. So for you, there is nothing new which you have to purchase. Then we have great colors. We have 6 unicolor shell, and also this unicolor shell, they make the instrument appear even a bit smaller. The colors which we have are metallic silver, we have a charcoal gray, jet black, cocoa brown, antique bronze, and the standard would be the sand beige. But not only the miniRITE instrument is new, what is actually also new is the charger. So the charger is called Charger miniRITE, just simple Charger miniRITE, and it also brings a lot of innovations. What I mentioned before, we have a new contact charging system. So this new charger uses contact charging, which gives the client a full day power in just 1 hour of recharge, and a quick recharge if the client only has time for 15 minutes. This contact charging means faster charging, a smaller device, and a more reliable charging experience for your client. The contact point of the instruments, which I have showed you in the animation, when you insert them into the charger, then they will scrape on the inside of the charger, and herewith any dirt or skin debris get removed. And this way we can make sure that the instruments will have the right connection and will properly be charged. There is also the possibility now that the hearing instruments can be fit while they are in the charger. This is also a big experience, so it's very, very convenient for the hearing care professional. If he has the client coming in, but maybe the instrument is not fully charged or is a bit low of battery, so then the hearing care professional can already put it in the charger, can already connect it, and during these 15 minutes, he will have recharged the battery to a sufficient level to fit it. The Sonic A1 charger also, it has color markings on the red side and on the blue on the left side, so that it is very, very clear for the hearing aid user which side to insert in which slot. And then in the inside of the charger, there is a gray colored inlay, and also this gives a charger a very, very nice appearance. Also, the Sonic A1 charger has this magnetic feedback, which means if the client puts in the hearing instruments in the charger, then you immediately will feel that it's pulled down. And then with this magnetic feedback, then it's also assured that the hearing instrument will be safe in place and ready for charging. And the charger also has LED, which indicates if it is connected to power or not. For the time being, this is the only charger which we have available, but later we will also then have a travel charger as we had for the previous instrument. Here, just a small overview about the charging time of the new batteries. So what I mentioned, in only 15 minutes, the user gets a 4 hours recharge. If he can spend half an hour from charging, then basically he has 8 hours recharge. With 1 hour charging, he has 16 hours full day use with the battery. And for you to know if you want to really full charge at 100% capacity, then this can be done actually in 2 hours. And we say that with a full charge, the instrument is at least, the battery at least lasts for 20 hours. Of course, this always depends on how much time the client spends streaming, in what environment he is. But as a guideline, we can say really more than a full day charge if the instrument is fully charged. Now, the hearing instruments will be delivered to you with 30% battery capacity. And the hearing instruments will be delivered to you in a battery protection mode. So it's important when you receive Sonic A1 instrument that you first must deactivate the battery protection mode. And this you can do when simply inserting the hearing instruments into the charger, wait until the LEDs start to blink, and then you can already remove the hearing instruments and they are ready to fit. However, please consider that it may take about a few seconds until the instrument is really ready to be connected. So if the instrument is not detected immediately in the software or immediately in the app, just give it some time, it will connect, but it needs some seconds to reset the battery after it's been used in the charger. Yes, it's possible now to fit the hearing instruments in the charger, correct? What I also mentioned before, and it's also even possible to do now firmware updates in the charger. So when you have also maybe limited charge, when a firmware update is needed, then it's great. You can put the hearing instruments in the charger. They get charged while any firmware update is conducted. As we know from experience, not only the hearing instrument itself is very important, but also a very, very important factor of the hearing aid is also the physical fit and the coupling to the ear canal. So Sonic A1 is compatible with a variety of earpieces and speakers. What I already mentioned before, that it's really the world's first self-calibrating hearing instruments with high precision. So it can self-calibrate with a difference of plus minus 1 decibel. So what I mentioned, the great possibility is if the client needs to change the speaker and maybe the new speaker has 2-3 dB more or less outputs, then immediately when this new speaker will be attached, it will calibrate it to the same level as the previous speaker. So very, very nice feature to assure that your customer always has the same sound in the hearing instruments. Then yes, we have this new 8-pin connector, which allows this memory, which includes this memory and can also track and measure the sensitivity. It detects again the fitting level, length, left and right side. And it is detectable in the fitting software. So you can only in the simulation mode fit a A1 or select a A1 without the speaker. As soon as you have attached the speaker or as soon as you are detecting an instrument, the speaker needs to be attached. Otherwise, the hearing instruments can actually not be fit. Another great achievement which we have got with this new speaker model, that we do have a higher MPO for the fitting level 60 and 100. And there is an error mode for safety, which means if the hearing care professional would add a wrong speaker, if he would mix up the right and the left side and put the wrong speaker to the hearing instruments, then the hearing instrument will start to blink. So you will get 4 orange blinks and this repeated 4 times. So this would be the visual alert on the hearing instruments that something must be wrong with the speaker. But if you are also connected in the software, then also this message will pop up in the software. Let me quickly explain the increased MPO which we got with this new speaker system. If we look at the MPO or at the output which we had, the maximum output which we had for the previous sonic instruments, then we see we reach here up to 115 dB. And now if we can see, this would be the maximum MPO which we get with the Sonic A150 speaker. So you see that especially in the high frequency where usually amplification is needed, it's a great achievement. So, which means a more comfortable fit for your clients with smaller ear canals, more gain, and also great sound quality when needing quite a bit more power, like for a music experience program. The miniFit Detect speakers are available in 4 levels, 4 fitting levels, 60, 85, 100, and the 105. And there are now some additional length available. So we have now the 60, 85 speaker from 0 to 5 length, the 100 speaker from 1 to 5 length, and the 105 speaker from 1 to 5 length. If you have a micro shell or a custom shell for the Sonic A1, then this would also be a micro shell detect version offering the same auto calibration possibilities. When we supply the new speakers to you, you will also receive a new measuring tool. What is new with the measuring tool is that the additional sizes, the 5, have been added, and now the color is gray. If you still have the old tool, you can use it, but be aware that the additional lengths are not available, and it just would make it clearer if you supply to your customers also the new measuring tool. If we look at the domes, we still have the same domes as you were familiar with from the previous instrument. We have the open base dome for slight to mild hearing losses, which exists in various diameters, but not all diameters are available for all speakers. Then we still have the bass dome double vent with 2 vents, which is ideal for moderate to bit severer hearing losses, and then also we still do have the power bomb for more severe losses. And as you see, they are still available in the same sizes as you have been familiar with in the past. We still also do have the same mold. We do have actually also the grip tip. Not everybody is familiar with this grip tip solution. It's a bit more durable than a dome. It has a bit more tactile textures to help prevent slipping out from the ear canal. It exists also in various sizes, and it exists vented version and one version without vent. Also, if you need more information about the grip tip, you can also then check in the software, in the help file. All the different sizes available are also indicated. Then we have the acrylic versions, which is still the light tip, and the micro mold, where you do have the possibility yourself to add the speakers, and the micro shell detect, which is supplied with the speaker built in. This is necessary because otherwise this auto calibration and this auto detection would not work. Let's have a look at the fitting ranges. There are 2 different fitting ranges. The Sonic A1 100. 100 is the highest technology level, which we have in Sonic A1. It has a bandwidth in the higher frequency up to 10,000 hertz, but it also has now a lower bandwidth going down to 80 hertz. So the total bandwidth for Sonic A1 100 is from 80 to 10,000 hertz. And you see the dynamic or the fitting ranges going down to hearing loss of about 105 decibels. The range is a bit reduced for Sonic A1 80, 60, and 40 levels. There, the fitting range is from 80 to 8,000 hertz, as we see here in the graph. But also it's going down to this extended low frequency bandwidth to 80 hertz as well. So this was a overview of the most important parts of Sonic A1. And I am very happy now to hand over to Marielle.
Thank you so much, Christina. That was really, I hope you guys are really interested because we have so many new things. And if you are curious about this new charger, I actually have some of the older models and also, of course, the newer one. This is the actual charger. And it's amazing because with the magnetic enclosure, you can see that no matter how hard I throw it in, okay, that was pretty hard, so that's why it fell down. But you can see that it really stays put. And if you compare the sizes of the new charger with the older one, you can see the big difference for these new chargers. So that's the portable charger, and this is the desk charger. So if you compare both of them, it's quite a big difference in terms of the size, as you can see. With the questions that we have so far in the chat box, we will be getting to that later on. So we will be answering them in the end, okay? All right. So today I will be focusing more on the Sonic A1 technology. And as Christine has said, we're really happy to have you with us. And if you have any more questions related to all things Sonic A1, please type them in the chat box. I also want you guys to be listening because we also have a really fun quiz later and a great prize. So watch out for that. Okay. So now that we have this brand new hardware, as you saw in this really cool animation earlier, of course, we also have a brand new chip. And if we have a brand new chip, that means we have a new technology platform. So you will see that a lot of the features will also be familiar, but given a different name. But I will make sure to highlight and emphasize the new ones that we have. So let's move forward. If we start at the top with Sonic A1, you can see that the technology we had with the previous Radiant SE, wind and contact noise protector and transient noise reduction, is actually carried over. There is an asterisk there, which means that it has changed the name, but a lot of it remains the same. What is different, though, is that we have the new motion sensor, which is able to interpret the movements of the patient and optimize the features of the hearing aid automatically. And then we have the ACT. So ACT is a completely new speech in noise test, and it only takes 2 minutes. And what this test does is it determines the right level of noise support that the client may need at the start of the fitting process. So we'll be talking more about that in the next few webinars, but for now, just know that we have this feature. Of course, Christina has already mentioned that we have 6 unicolor tones, very elegant colors. It can fit any kind of hair color and skin tone. And it's available in this new hardware, so with 1 button instead of the 2 that we had with Sonic Radiant SE and Sonic Radiant. What is new is that we have the new Remote Link 2 app. And this is the new app which is used to control the Sonic A1 hearing aids and also to attend remote fitting sessions. And then finally, we have the extended frequency range, which offers a wider range in the low frequencies from 80 Hertz to 10,000 Hertz. And of course, we'll be talking more about what's new with the Sonic A1 noise management and speech processing later on. What is brand new is also the connectivity, including the hands-free communication with the LE-enabled Android devices, in addition to direct streaming. Of course, with Apple, we know that's not an issue. We can have both direct streaming and also two-way streaming, or what we call hands-free. You will see that the rest of the features have already been introduced in the previous technologies, which, of course, are very great in value. And the reason why they're there is because it works. So the benefit is there, and all of these features continue to be important for Sonic A1. And finally, there are, of course, the rest of these features, which is also part of Sonic A1, and we do not want to miss them, of course. What is new is we do have a new software if you want to fit the Sonic A1. So that's coming up later on, and Christina will be talking more about that later. So the core of Sonic audiology is definitely our unique sound processing. So sonic sound processing provides very clear and natural sound, speech clarity, speech understanding in noise, and of course, listening comfort for our clients. Our approach with Sonic is we really want simplicity. So when we're explaining the features, we want to go straight to the point so that our customers can also understand what we're trying to sell. So sonic sound processing consists of the speech processing, and that features the broadband amplification for speech and the 24-channel amplification for noise. This is the new and improved compression system that we have as a part of the digital signal processing with Sonic A1. And then on the right-hand side, another part that makes up the sonic sound processing is the noise management, which features the dynamic directionality, the smart noise reduction, the new motion sensor, and the transition. So let's take a look now at each of these, and let's start with the speech processing. So for speech processing, we have fast modulated and broadband signals like speech, which is fully captured in a single broadband channel. And then within this broadband channel, speech modulations are accurately preserved, which provides clear and natural speech. So the picture that you see on the left in this graph, you will see the speech signal represented in the time domain. So that is the very light blue color. That's the speech signal. And we also have the corresponding estimation of the amplitude with a phonemic resolution down to the last detail in dark blue. And each phoneme is estimated independently and gets the appropriate and programmed amplification. And then when speech and noise are present at the same time, it's really important to amplify the speech and noise differently. So by adding 24-channel amplification for noise, speech processing can effectively optimize both speech clarity and listening comfort. Slow modulating signals like noise are separated from speech in 24 frequency channels, and by isolating noise from speech, speech can be made much more audible in the presence of noise, which definitely increases listening comfort in noise. So in this graph, you can see the audio signal represented in the frequency domain, and that is the very light blue color that you see there. Correspondingly, you will see the spectral information captured by the 24-channel amplification in dark blue. Processing with this really high resolution in the frequency domain this time allows for a very targeted detection of the sound event with low modulation, and that is noise usually, that can affect speech or comfort. And this is really demonstrated when there is a narrowband noise source, and noises like these can be detected very accurately and estimated correctly in the frequency domain. Now that we've talked about the speech processing for Sonic A1, let's now move on to the noise management, starting with dynamic directionality. So A1 directionality uses an adaptive beamforming approach, continuously scanning the environment, localizing the noise in 24 frequency bands, and then it continuously applies the null steering. So in this area around the customer, the noise is it automatically changes depending on where the noise is. So you can see that it is able to track noise in real time in order to achieve the best signal to noise ratio for the best possible speech understanding. And then there are two omnidirectional sound profiles to ensure good sound quality in quiet environments. The omnidirectional mode picks up signal evenly from all directions for the best sound quality. And then the PINA model is based on the acoustic model of the external ear for the slight directional emphasis, more in the high frequencies. And this definitely improves the SNR of around 1 to 0 dB compared to the traditional Omni. Of course, when there is noise, this is where the dynamic directionality states kick in. It locates where the noise is coming from, then generates the null, and that is the colored part that you see here. That's what you call null, to attenuate the noise. If the noise source starts moving, the hearing aid continuously adjusts the null direction to better suppress the noise and preserve the signal of interest from the front. So Sonic A160 dynamic directionality is able to offer up to 60% effect, which means that the null is 60% deep in the direction of the noise source. Sonic A180 dynamic directionality offers up to 80% effect, which means that the null is 80% deep in the direction of the noise source. And of course, we have Sonic 100, which provides up to 100% effect. And that means there is even more attenuation specifically from where the noise source is coming. So in short, a low dynamic directionality state offers the least amount of noise attenuation, while the high dynamic directionality state provides the most noise attenuation with the best signal to noise ratio. And even though this picture only shows the null on one direction, try to imagine this noise source moving around the customer, and this null moves along with that noise source in order to ensure that the customer gets the best directionality in that sense, and it's much more dynamic than anything we've had so far. And even though the dynamic directionality is usually enough most of the time to improve the signal to noise ratio, sometimes both the desired speech signal and the unwanted noise are present at the same direction at the same time. So a hearing aid can use an algorithm to accurately locate speech versus noise. Once the modulation is determined, so speech is more higher and noise is lower modulated, the next step is to calculate the desired amount of attenuation. So low modulation signals should receive more attenuation than higher modulation signals, and that's usually speech. As described, this system analyzes the signal modulation in different frequency bands to measure the signal to noise ratio and respond accordingly. So when this feature is activated, noise reduction progressively attenuates signals that have less modulation. And in doing so, it applies the minimum noise reduction necessary, which is really a good strategy because it reduces the risk of the voice being attenuated in the same band that can occur with more aggressive noise reduction systems. The smart noise reduction can reach up to 12 decibel of reduction of noise, depending on the Sonic A1 technology level and the level of the noise in the environment. And then we also have, of course, transition, and that determines at what noise level and signal to noise ratio the dynamic directionality and smart noise reduction will be applied. And then now that we've talked about the speech processing and the noise management, let's talk about the most exciting part in the new Sonic A1, and that is the new motion sensor. So usually noise management features, they work, and ideally they work best when the customer is not moving. But what happens if the customer actually starts moving around? How can we know the intention of the customer, which sounds or speech that he would like to hear? Now in Sonic A1, we have the possibility to use the motion data of the customer. This brings us to a completely new and important dimension of signal processing, because with motion data, we can trigger hearing aid features based on the intention of the customer. So what does the customer want to hear, and what is important to him at this very moment? Now let's look at a situation where a customer is involved in a conversation with one or more people. So if the customer is sitting and focused on somebody, or maybe just nodding like this, they're agreeing with the person that they're talking to, usually the customer needs more support for speech from the front. If the customer is sitting and moves his head horizontally to the right and then the left side, and that means that most likely the customer is also talking to different people aside from the person in the front, he needs more support for speech also from the side. If the customer stands still and listens to somebody in front of him, he needs more support again from the front. And lastly, if the customer moves slowly around in an environment, he may actually need more support from all around the environment and needs to be more aware of what's happening around him. The motion sensor automatically adjusts the level of dynamic directionality and smart noise reduction based on the hearing aid user's head and body movements. And how does the motion sensor work in a group conversation? So when the client is focused on one person in a group conversation, the motion sensor actually increases the directionality and also the noise reduction, helping them focus on the person they are speaking with. And when your client moves their head left to right to follow a group conversation, the system automatically shifts to a more 360-degree awareness and decreases the noise reduction and also the focused dynamic directionality. And this lets your customer be more aware of the entire environment around them. When your client is standing still in a noisy environment, the motion sensor increases their directionality and also the noise reduction, so it can help them focus on what is in front of them. And how does it work on the go? When your client walks in a noisy environment, the motion sensor then shifts the dynamic directionality to a more omnidirectional mode, and it decreases also the smart noise reduction effect. And this allows your client to be more aware of the entire environment all around them, including noises, because even the unwanted noises like a car going behind the customer is necessary when they are on the move in their environment. So that's the motion sensor explained. And the good thing is that this motion sensor actually makes the noise management even more effective because it literally adjusts the noise management depending on every single movement that the customer is making. And I think that's really amazing. And as an overview of the technology that we have for Sonic A1, I'm just going to touch on the more important points. So a few things I want to highlight, which I think would be interesting for you, is that the motion sensor that I just talked about is only available for Sonic A180 and 100. So if you have a customer who wants the hearing aids to perform in group conversation, in noisy social environments, and you know, this customer is constantly comparing the hearing aids with other brands, I can recommend this with confidence that if you really want to win this customer, you should consider Sonic A180 or 100 because of this motion sensor. And then another thing you should pay attention to is the dynamic directionality. So as you know, dynamic directionality is the best directionality mode in a speech and noise situation. So if you have your customer who often goes outside a house where it's generally more noise, then consider going with Sonic A160 onwards. We have the transient noise reduction also and the wind contact noise protector, which was previously available with Radiant SE, and now it's also available for Sonic A1. And that's really amazing because you see here that the transient sounds can be attenuated from 15 all the way up to 30 decibel. And that is really amazing for someone who's very sensitive to sudden sounds. And that includes soft sounds like, you know, when you're typing on the keyboard, or loud sounds when someone bangs the door. So this is really a great feature to have. And I'm quite confident that not a lot of other brands have this. And then finally, we have the frequency range. So you can see that Sonic A1 also brings some improvements that allow the frequency range to be extended all the way down to 80 hertz. Previously, it was only up to 200 hertz, and this change applies to all levels. Of course, with Sonic A1 100, it extends to 10,000 hertz, but the good thing with this is that with this extended low frequency range, it allows more low frequency content and is very useful for clients with closed acoustics and severe low frequency hearing loss. And this can definitely increase the sound quality when you're listening to music and speech overall. So that is it for the technology part of Sonic A1. I'll let Christina take over again for the next part.
Thank you so much, Mariel. So, I hope you are as excited as we are with all this new technology. So I really think this motion sensor is something brilliant, which really goes a step ahead of hearing aid technology. So the motion sensor is actually available not in all the program, which also makes sense. So the motion sensor is, of course, available in the universal program for every day and in a program Conversation in Noise. But of course, if someone would like to have a special program tuned for a car, maybe a taxi driver, then the motion sensor is not needed, and it also would not really make sense there. So, but yes, for everyday situation, it's brilliant to have this motion sensor. And I can't wait to get the first feedback really from the market. Yeah, how it works. So myself, I had the pleasure of trying out some Sonic A1, and I really think the sound are spectacular. So, all right, so let's continue. But yes, hardware and technology is not everything which makes a complete hearing solution, because also connectivity matters. Connectivity matters more and more. Today, also elderly hearing aid users, they want to use their hearing instruments with their phone. They want to connect with iPads or with other devices. So with Sonic A1, we also managed to achieve a vast improvement in connectivity, streaming, and great sound quality, because we still use the Bluetooth low energy technology. And with this technology, the hearing aid users also still have a long battery life. Yes, Sonic A1 is made for iPhone as all the previous Sonic instruments. So with iPhone, there are no limitations. You can have correct bidirectional streaming. You can have hands-free calls. Also now with different Apple devices. I will go into the detail a bit later. So all Sonic users with an iPhone 11 or later, running iOS 15 or later, they get all the benefits of Sonic A1. And at one point, we will also do a webinar regarding connectivity, and then we will introduce all the details to you, you know, about operating systems, about all the devices which can be connected. And now with the introduction of Bluetooth LE audio in Sonic A1, now we also have unlimited connectivity possible with Android phones using LE audio technology. So also LE audio is used in most of Android smartphones or tablets, but they need to have Android version OS 14 or later in order to be able to connect with the Sonic A1 hearing instruments. But also here we still use the Bluetooth low energy technology, because in our opinion, it is really important that the client has a long battery duration, that he can stream longer than with ordinary Bluetooth technology. And this is simply the reason why we still stick to this technology, while other manufacturers may use standard Bluetooth. Okay, so now also, yes, with the introduction of the Mac OS 14, which actually already happened in September of last year, Sonic A1 hearing instruments, they can now also be paired directly to a Mac computer. So if the Mac has both one-way and two-way audio, then now the hearing aid user can stream music and can make phone calls directly to the Mac. So the native control would be in the Mac. So answering calls, and if he doesn't want hands-free communication. But now it's also very, very nice that so many people using Mac. So while they are working on something, they can now also answer phone calls. Same is also possible now with the Windows PCs. If your hearing aid user with a Sonic A1 has a Windows PC, system window must be system 11, otherwise it's not compatible. And also the computer must support the Bluetooth LE audio standard. So also here, so many people use Windows PCs. It's great now that they can connect their hearing instruments directly to stream music, to do phone calls, almost now unlimited possibilities with Sonic A1. Just as a short summary, what can all be connected today to Sonic A1? So this is the iPhone, iPad, Mac, Android smartphones. You will find on the Sonic website which smartphones have been actually tested with the hearing instruments, Android tablets, and also Windows PC. And all these devices, it's also possible to use hands-free communication, which means you can, by a simple touching the hearing instruments, you can answer or reject phone calls. Really, really great step ahead of Bluetooth and connectivity technology. The tap control, yes, has been introduced also for Sonic A1. So now instead of looking for the push button and really pushing the push button to answer, reject, phone call, simple use, just double tap on the shell and then immediately the phone can be answered, or the phone can be rejected, or the phone can be ended. So, and it really, really works. I have tried it out myself and it's actually amazing. You see a phone call coming in, tap, tap, double tap, and you are already communicating. So this looks very, very nice. The tap control feature can be activated in the software, in the fitting software by the hearing care professional, but it's also possible later on to activate it in the app. Now for Sonic A1, it would be in the Remote Link 2 app. And in case the hearing aid user has activated it in the app and then he goes back and sees the hearing care professional, then a message will pop up in the software alerting the hearing care professional that the hearing aid user has activated this feature in his app, and then it will also be auto-active in the software. So this is also the use of the app and the use of the software is always nicely synchronized. Our good known and true companions, TVA, SoundClip A, and remote control, they still exist. They are not really sold in large quantities, the remote control, but really if somebody just would like to have a easy equipment to change program, he does not want to mingle with Bluetooth technology, it is still available and it's also still compatible with the Sonic A1. Mariel also pointed out to you before, now for Sonic A1, a new app has been introduced, and this is actually the Remote Link 2. You see here a picture of the Remote Link 2. All the features are the same as you are familiar with in the SoundLink 3, in the last app which we have introduced. It is just a look which is a bit different. And yes, if you have had customers using, having had an account for remote fitting, then now he would make the new account. But otherwise, if you download it, then you will see that yeah, it's actually the same. It's just a bit different colors. I just remind you a few features which are available in the Remote Link 2 app. Of course, the basic change program, adjust the volume. It's also possible to remember the volume setting in case the hearing aid user has different listening programs, and then maybe he's adjusting or he's making the general program a bit louder and maybe the music program a bit softer. Now, in the past, when the customer has changed the program in the app, it always went back to the default setting. But now with this remember volume setting, then the personalized modification amendments, they will actually stay. So this is also nice. This remember volume setting can be activated in the app, but also it can be activated in the software. It's not brand new for Sonic A1. We actually had this for Radiant SE. Now, since the hearing instrument can be fitted in the charger, there is now a new picture as well, a new indicator when the hearing aids are still charging. So when as long as the hearing aids are in the charger, then you will see the two volume bars grayed out with information the hearing instruments are actually charging. And then when they are fully charged, also the volume bars will start to be active, and the message will appear that charging is finished, that the hearing instruments are connected now. Then we still have the sound equalizer, which helps to equalize or to adjust the listening programs in 3 different frequency bands, low, mid, and high. If you would like to personalize some sounds in a listening program. And we do have the streaming equalizer, which can adjust the streaming sounds on the telephone, listening to music, listening TVA. This also is tinnitus sound support features are available, so you can also, in A1, you have the possibility to adjust the tinnitus sound or to adjust the environment sound. My Daily Hearing is available as well, which you can fix your objective, what you would like to achieve with your hearing instruments, how often you would like to wear it, and then you will get notifications if you reach your objective or if you have not reached this. So also My Daily Hearing is also available. Apple Watch also can be connected now, yes, to the Remote Link 2 app. If you have a rechargeable instrument, which this Sonic A1 is, when you do connect it, it will also indicate you for how long the battery still will be charged. Find My Hearing Aids is available since one of the last updates, also a bit more precise, even with the address where it has last been connected to the app. Of course, remote fitting, firmware updates can be done directly in the app. If it's a minor firmware update, then the hearing aid user can do this at home. And now he can do it even when the instruments are in the charger. And last but not least, we have this big, helpful troubleshooting section and much more. So as you said, you will familiarize yourself very, very fast with the new app because, yes, basically the use and the menu points are the same. Correct. And now what I quickly mentioned before, yes, Sonic A1 can be used with Apple Watch. So for the Apple Watch users, very, very easy to connect and also a great and user-friendly way to control the hearing aids. Okay, so yes, how do we fit Sonic A1? Yes, from now on, Sonic A1 instruments, they are fit in Oasis Next. So you will see that Sonic is integrated into Oasis Next software, and you will see it will be an Oasis Next with Sonic. The integration starts with Sonic A1, but will also continue in the future. So which means you would need to have the Express Fit Pro for the previous instruments and then Sonic Oasis Next for Sonic A1. I'm sure when you look at Oasis Next, it's very, very similar to Express Fit Pro. The colors are a bit different, but it's also very, very easy to use. It's very, very intuitive, maybe even more easy to use because you will just go from top to down, and then herewith you cannot miss any menus. And all the features which you know from Express Fit Pro, they are also included in Oasis Next Sonic. We will have the same professional parameters as you are familiar with, the same help file, the same acoustic option. So this is actually very identical. There will be a different fitting rationale. Instead of Best Fit Fast SC and Best Fit Fast, you will now find Fit NL. But Fit NL or Fit Comfort, they are also both based on NL NL1 and NL2, as it was the Best Fit Fast software. Also in terms of sound experience between the previous Sonic instruments and also A1, if we consider the fitting rationale, the dynamics, it's the same. And besides the proprietary fitting rationales, you will also find NAL and DSL. So you can already download Oasis Next right now, and then you can also familiarize yourself with it. Certainly one of the next webinars, we will introduce Oasis Next one in detail and go through it. Also, Mariel mentioned this ACT. So this new ACT feature or ACT feature, it is actually a new personalization test, which, yes, determines how much support your client needs in noisy situation. And then this result can be used for a more personalized hearing aid fitting. You will see a new menu point in Oasis Next. Actually, you will also see it in ExpressFit Pro because ACT can also be used for Radiant SE with the latest firmware. So if you open ExpressFit Pro and you see this new ACT menu, it's not a mistake. But basically, yes, it's also included now, of course, in Oasis Next. What you will need for this ACT measurement, you need a special equipment and you need a special test. Also, we are going to talk about this a bit later. So, but what it actually does, it is a test above threshold, a non-language specific test, because we wanted to develop a test which tests speech or comfort and speech understanding in noise without a special language. So that's why we have selected this special non-language test. So which means the client, he will just hear a signal and he has to confirm when he hears this signal. Very, very easy. It's done like an audiogram. And then the end result of this test is a score. And this score is then can be imported directly or transmitted directly into Oasis Next if it's a compatible equipment. And then this core can predetermine the adaptive settings of Sonic A1, which means a client with a lower score would need less help. A client with a higher score would need more help. So very, very nice test because it means then two clients, same age, same hearing loss, different ACT score, ACT value can have totally different presetting of the Sonic A1 features. But a bit more we will tell in one of the other webinars. Then we have another upgrade, actually. We have enhanced low frequency enhancer. It's already called low frequency enhancer. Now there is a second version, low frequency enhancer 2.0. It's specially meant for clients who have open fits, who have domes with big open ventings, and then the low frequencies, they can escape. And in the past, the clients, they also had low frequency compensation, but it was actually not so useful. But now with this new low frequency enhancer, the client will have additional gain boost between 125 and 625 hertz, which gives a much, much better sound experience. Actually, it's now even going down to 80 hertz, as we have also seen now for Sonic A1, because the frequency range already starts at 80 hertz. So while customers are streaming, listening to music, listening to TV, being on the phone, maybe not necessarily, then this this additional boost with the low frequency enhancer 2 can be very, very helpful to compensate for the lost gain. Because yes, we would like to have bass experience, especially for listening to the music, because the bass actually makes also the sound of the music. Here I just have an overview where we can see the differences to the previous setting, which means the setting which we have in instruments like Radian, SE, and Radian. So the default setting would actually be medium. So if we just look at the example of the previous medium setting before, then we see we did have a boost of 6.7 decibels at 125 hertz, but not more. And now with this new setting of the low frequency enhancer 2, first of all, we have a higher boost of 9 dB at the 125, or let's see between 80 and 125. Then we still have 5 dB at 250, 3 at 500, and still 1 dB at 625 hertz. And you see it is an improvement for all the settings, for the high setting and also for the low setting. So medium setting would be the default setting, and it gives this a bit more dynamic feeling when streaming low frequency sounds. So with this, I have already finished presenting you what was actually new about Sonic A1 technology, feature, and just to summarize a few highlights, this Sonic A1, this great and exclusive innovative hearing solution, a great technology with this fantastic motion sensor. We have this brand new, and yes, we can say world industry's first self-calibration speaker system. Yes, the motion sensor, which now goes beyond strict noise reduction. Yes, now emotions are taken into consideration to trigger the noise reduction systems. We have the latest generation of Bluetooth technology available now, also enriching the hearing aid user's life every moment. And we do also have the new Remote Link 2 app. So many news, and really we could only show you the most important things today. And we are looking so much forward to presenting you more details in our next webinars. So yes, Marielle, back to you.
Thank you, Christina. Wow. It's, you know, we have mentioned a lot of times there will be future webinars, and that's true. So please watch out for that. Now, I would just like you guys, I know all of you have your phones beside you. Who doesn't these days? And I want you to get ready with your phone to scan the QR code on the next slide. And that is because, as we mentioned before, we will be hosting tons of webinars for Sonic this year. And there will be a quiz after each webinar. So I know, quiz, ugh, man, I finished school decades ago. Who wants a quiz? But it really helps you to remember what we talked about today. It is fun. And most importantly, I think for a lot of people, whoever gets the highest score at the end of the year will win the coolest prize in Sonic history. And you can see it here. Whoever gets the highest score after answering the quizzes, and you don't have to be present in all of the webinars in order to answer the quiz. So even if you're not able to make it, just watch the recording again and then scan these. And after you answer the quiz, you can do that after the webinar, no worries. We will tally the scores at the end of the year, and anyone can get a chance to win a pair of these Sonic hearing aids. So you see the QR code on the right, and once you scan it, it would lead you to the quiz that you see here. Don't click start if you're not ready to answer it yet, okay? Only click it when you're mentally ready. And then once you click that, you have just a few questions, 8 or 9 questions, just to review what we've talked about so far, and then type in your email so we know that it's you. So take your time to answer that. I'll keep this slide on. And in the meantime, Christina, I think we can go to the questions. we got quite a few. So the first question, Christina, is the new charger does not have a power bank function as it was in the Plus charger. That is correct. So, oh, Christina, you're muted.
Yes, yes. Yes, correct, because this is the desk charger. This is the desk charger version, and there will be also a travel charger a bit later on. But we start actually with the desk charger version. Yes, correct.
All right, and the second question is, good morning. How can we change the speakers? So I have a device right now with me. Oh, I have to make sure it's in front of my face. There we go. And you know this nifty tool, everyone's best friend? You use the same red pin tool to take out the speaker from the area, the attachment area. So it's the same thing. You do it the same way.
You can use the red tool, or you can also use the black tool, which we used in the past. So because there is a still small gap, and then you just go in there, and so it's the same way to remove it. Very easy to remove. Yeah.
All right, next question. If we need to change a battery, is this possible?
Well, we don't know. I don't know from what country this question's from. Well, it is not possible by a hearing care professional, and it's not maybe possible by the distributor if he has had the necessary training. But if you do not have a shell lab, if you do not have repair facilities and attended a training course, then it needs to be returned back to the factory or whatever agreement you make with your sales director, with your contact person. But I know that for the Radiant Mini BTE, some distributors have had training, and now they can also replace the battery in their labs. But the battery cannot be replaced in a clinic.
Yeah, that is true, because the battery is literally soldered on the hardware. So unlike the Radiant miniRITEs, rechargeable miniRITEs, you cannot just open the battery door and then change the battery. That's not possible with the Sonic A1 miniRITE. So keep that in mind. And then the next question is, in the new software, is it possible to do in situ audiometry and tinnitus retraining therapy? Oh, that's a very specific question. It is possible with the new Oasis Next software to do in situ audiometry. A lot of the functions there, as Christina has mentioned,
yes,
will
correct.
be.
Tinnitus sound support is there, although it's not really a retraining therapy. It's a program to offer relief. Yes, ACT is there. So all the features which you know from ExpressFit Pro are available there as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And tinnitus retraining therapy, of course, is a very specific tinnitus management protocol. So, of course, just follow that along. And if you're familiar with the tinnitus sound support from ExpressFit Pro, for sure you will have no problem with the tinnitus sound support, which is also found in Oasis Next. And then the next question is, there is a question, how about the ACT test? So that's not super clear. But in case you are interested in doing the ACT test, you do need the following equipments, and that includes Interacoustics Avant. If you have MedRx, certain equipments in MedRx and certain equipments in GSI, then you should be able to access this ACT test. And whatever the results of that ACT test is, will automatically be transferred to the Oasis Next software.
Yes, correct. So you would need the equipment, and then, yes, a license, and then you are ready to go. And we will also, if we talk about that, we also have a nice video which explains the test actually the patient has to do, and it's really easy. So it's like an audiogram. It's even easier probably, and yeah, very, very nice and convenient.
Of course, you would need to purchase a license, so that's another thing. But again, we'll talk more about this in the next webinar, where we talk about ACT specifically. The next question is, to connect the Sonic A1 to the Cathy, do I need to remove the speaker to insert the connector cable?
Actually, I know that you can connect a Sonic A1 to Cathy without the speaker. This I know. I am not really familiar how you put the cable, but if you tell me that you had to remove the speaker for Radiant, then probably it's also the same for Sonic A1. But I know that the speaker is only needed when you detect Sonic A1 in Oasis, but if you work with Cathy, then there is no speaker needed. But I'm correct. If there you need a cable, then it will be the same procedure as before. Yes.
Thank you so much, Christina. The last question we have is, what can we do if we are logged on our phones? How can we enter the quiz? Don't worry, just take a screenshot, and then when you have the free time, you can detect the QR code on that screenshot. As long as you have that QR code, you're good to go. So anytime when you're ready, of course, we will be sending out the recording of today's session along with the handout of the PowerPoint. So if you want to review first and look it over, then you can answer the quiz later. You have an hour. Once you click start, you have 1 hour to finish the quiz. So yes, we'll be also sending out a newsletter after this in the next few weeks. So also watch out for the newest updates in terms of firmware and also versions, new versions of the app, etc. It will be in that newsletter. When should we submit the quiz? Where? You can submit the quiz within a week. So you can do that. You might forget, so try to do it in the next few days, but yes, feel free.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
The participants, we still have like 3 minutes. I would be curious to know if anybody of the participants has used the translation mode of the slide into their language.
Yeah,
and someone, if you have used it and if it worked, can you just write maybe a yes and what language? Because I'm really, really interested to know if this feature is used and if it's and if it does work. Oh, it works in Spanish. Great, cool. Okay, because I was told in the past that you need a special Windows version, but that's great. So if it works in Spanish, then it will also work in other languages. Oh, fantastic! Not work in Portuguese.
Oh no.
Then I think that is probably something with the setup and not the language. So, but it does work in Spanish. Okay, that's it. Not in
it's
Czech.
important to know that this feature is available if you have the Teams app downloaded. So if you're logging into the session just on a web browser, maybe on Google Chrome or on Safari, then this feature will not be available. You actually have to download Microsoft Teams on your laptop in order to be able to access this feature.
I think this is something which we will specify in one of the next newsletters so that you can really benefit of this feature and be prepared for it. Yes, of course, when we start the webinar, then maybe it is already a bit late, but it would really be great if you could use this feature.
And then there's another question is, how can you get the new software? Thank you so much for asking that. This information will be available also in the newsletter. And that is why if you have not received anything from us so far, type in your email now in the chat box so I can add you, so we can send the newsletter to you. And in the newsletter, you will find the specific link to download this new Oasis Next software. And then you would also, of course, need the installation code, and that will also be provided in the newsletter. So normally you just need to type the installation code after you install it. And in the future, when you're updating the software, then the code is not needed anymore. So that is the answer. We will send it through the newsletter. Well, lots of email.
Lots of email addresses, yes.
Yes,
I think if they are in the registration, then we will see them, correct, Marielle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super. So
All
that's
right.
good. We'll make it a point to include these. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent.
So without further ado, I think we're right on the dot. It's 90 minutes after we started, so we're right on time. If everyone is good, we'll call it a day, let you guys have your rest, and I wish you a good weekend.
Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. So we are really happy to see you again in the next webinars, and there will be lots more of new, interesting information for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening.
Bye. Have a good weekend,
Bye.
everyone.